أريد من هذا الشعب إلا أن يزيد في الحمد والشكر إلى الله عز وجل، ويزيد من محبة الوطن، ويزيد من العمل ومضاعفة العمل لما يسعى فيه من خير له وللدولة والأهل. هذا اللي أنا أدوره من الشعب، وربنا إن شاء الله يوفقنا جميعا على ما يحب ويرضى.
I just want to say thank you for a wonderful place to live. It's been a place where my family lives here, my extended family. They moved here, I think, even before the union, and they are part of the very fabric of this place. How I was, when I came, I just feel like I'm part of the family. My family was formed here, and I love the fact that it is safe. My kids and my grandkids, they're in a safe place, they're happy, they're connected, the values of family are there, the value of being close to Allah is there. You know, you can pray anywhere, you know, and feel connected. There's a sense of caring. All of these are very important values that build community, and that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Peers of Union, the program that highlights success stories and inspiring journeys from the heart of the UAE. In a world where every brand is fighting to be heard, brand Moxie has spent over 2 decades for making sure the right ones stands out. And today we sit with the CEO and Managing Director, Ms. Sana Bagersh. Welcome to Peers of Union, Ms. Sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having you today. And if you could please start about, if you could introduce yourself at the beginning.
You know, it's really one of the most difficult things is when somebody says, introduce yourself. And I'll tell you why. I wear many hats or many hijabs, you know.
Yeah.
I've done so much in my life, alhamdulillah. And I think there were certain things, certain foundations, certain building blocks that just really made a difference. So I was born and I grew up in Ethiopia, and I am one girl and I have 5 brothers. So I always sometimes acted a lot like a boy, you know, and I expected things, and and the good thing was my father, my mother, my brothers, they really supported me. I was a woman, an Arab woman in a place where sometimes there are so many traditions. You can't do this, you can't do that. And yet I was able to go to university. And after university, my father said, you have to go to Abu Dhabi. You have to go to Abu Dhabi, where your uncles are. My mom's family are all Emiratis. He said, you have to go there. Start your career. And I started my career as a journalist. I was with Gulf News, 1985 I joined. His Excellency Ubaid al-Tayr was one of the people who interviewed me for my job. And it was such an amazing experience. Amazing experience, you know. And what it showed me was Abu Dhabi, it just grew right from, from the very early, the early beginnings, the vision of Sheikh Zayed, the leaders of all of the Emirates, and how it sprung up and it blossomed, And I was part of it. I covered amazing stories about people, about institutions, about the whole incredible trajectory that is the UAE today. And I have friends across the board who I met like years ago, and it's just, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just been part of my life. That's sort of what defined me. I mean, just to explain sort of how things moved along. So
if you talk about also your key milestones as well.
Yes, so what happened was I was a journalist here for a while, and I met presidents and interviewed celebrities and Sheikh Zayed, Allah yarhamo, Nelson Mandela, so many people who were just leaders, incredible, inspirational leaders. I met them. I had the honor of meeting them. And then I got married and I moved to Seattle, Washington. And that was where I started my family. I worked in the incredible tech space, the innovation space, with entities there. And then when I came back, I joined a company called Thuraya Satellite Telecommunications Company. And the interesting thing about Thuraya, I was the marketing director, and I was in charge of overseeing the campaigns in 110 countries. So it was an incredible experience. But the one thing that it taught me was how technology can transform lives. So how you have a village, you have a business, you have an area, and suddenly they have telecommunications, things change.
The whole world is connected
Absolutely,
with each other. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It becomes a small town,
It becomes a community,
Yeah.
People can talk to each other, they can relate to each other, they can collaborate, they can build, they can envision connectivity and conversation and so many things. So that, I think, if you were to say what was that seed that just really just was there throughout all of my life, my little anchor was the value of social impact, making a difference. As a reporter, I love to write about stories about people.
Yeah.
How they transformed their lives, how entrepreneurs worked, how policies empowered people. That was all part of social impact. And then Thuraya taught me about connectivity, the power of telecoms. And then you mentioned brand Moxie. I launched brand Moxie 2004, but I left Thuraya in 2008. And when I resigned, the management there, they said, you can't leave. I said, but I'm setting up an agency. It's a conflict of interest. They said, we trust that you will keep them separate. So I stayed with Thuraya for another 4 years. And then at one point in 2008, I left and I moved to brand Moxie.
You need
to run the agency.
Yeah.
But I kept
focus more on the
agency. Yeah.
It was your dream.
So brand Moxie was a small villa. It was in Khaldiya. We set up, but for me, I loved the agency work, but it was not the money that attracted me. Unfortunately, my brothers, my husband, ركزي على the commercial side. I loved all of that. However, what really, where my passion was again, social impact.
Yeah.
So although I had brand Moxie, which is an advertising agency, we did incredible work. We did work in, we developed so many IPs, Braxtol, brand acuity, strategic alignment. We developed style books. We did reputation management. We really raised the bar in terms of marketing. However, I was still thinking, how can we make a difference? So in 2009, I set up Tamakkan. And then people said, Tamakkan? Yeah, why Tamakkan? Because it is in the imperative. It's like do. It's like do it, Tamakkan, And I like that. I wanted it to be something that was inspiring.
Yeah.
So Tamakkan was born of the idea that all of us can make a difference. So I contacted my friends who were university professors, who were experts, who were people who were academics, and I told them, guys, once a month we have to meet and we have to give free seminars. We just share our knowledge. So we looked for a location. The first location that was given to me was Zayed University.
Okay.
And it was their location that was, I think it was on Murur or something. And they gave me a space and they said, do it,
Yeah.
And once a month we would bring people who would talk about technology, about branding, about merchandising, about funding, about scaling, about all of the fundamentals, the pillars of being successful as a business, as an individual, and as a community. So we also tapped into things like, sustainability as well, into how to empower SMEs and startups. We really pushed the envelope for all of that,
Yeah.
So that actually was a major thing. And then after that, we moved on. We were moved to Ma'mura. We met Sheikh Mohammed a few times. We saw other presidents, Hillary Clinton, because there were a lot of leaders passing by, and it was such a hub. And they gave us a free space. And subhanAllah, once we started to give these free monthly seminars, there was a lot of goodwill. This is the power of barakah.
As if they say, sharing is caring.
Yeah. It was the power of barakah. I always say that. Because suddenly the hotel would call and say, Sana, come and organize a tamakan free of charge. A university would say, come and we brought people. And the one thing that was so important for me was to broaden the conversation. And it was not just about bringing people of different stages of business. No, we wanted to bring the policymakers. We wanted to bring in people who were the educators. And we wanted to bring people from different nationalities. So for me as an interculturalist, Ethiopia, Yemen, Emirat, America, I was always about building bridges.
Yeah.
So I'd call the US Embassy, the British Embassy, the Filipinos, everybody was part of this movement, which is what? Sharing knowledge and empowering people. That was our vision. Okay. And we focused on 3 pillars: entrepreneurship, innovation, and leadership. These were the 3. And then I moved to 2454. Her Excellency Noor Al-Kaabi came to visit us a few times. My friend Maryam Al-Meheri, also who was also involved in 2454, they all came. And it was such a beautiful ecosystem because it was all about growth. It was about learning.
Yeah.
It was about learning and growth and sharing and bringing people together. So 2454 was a huge opportunity. And then in 2009, I realized that there were so many great stories that needed to be told. In 2454, I took a space of about 320 square meters. So I was doing incubation, I was doing acceleration, even before I even knew. At that time, people were not talking about it. In 2009, they were not talking about incubation and, but we had the university, they used to come to our space. We organized hackathons, challenges, and what we did was we created a space where people could come in and also pitch their ideas. So I had programs like Unveil. Unveil is when you're a fashion designer or you have a product, you come in and you unveil it. We create a space for you to unveil it.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And we did something called the Smoothies short film competition, where we worked with Vox Cinemas. We had movies about social impact, how to build a community, how to care about your family, how to create stability, and how to create resources that empower families and people and bring people closer. It was all about creating the toolkit. Also in 2009, I launched Tempo magazine because I felt, okay, there are all these stories, but somebody has to write about it. And so we launched Tempo magazine. I had an amazing team. I had an agency. They were working partly on the business side, but partly they were doing all of this stuff, which was
The
creating
feature writing.
impact,
and stuff.
and running the events, to the Tamakkan events, the hackathons, all of that. So it was quite inspiring, and Tamakkan still exists. Where it's online, and our slogan is we cover stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. That's the slogan.
That's
of
a very
Temple.
interesting slogan to be heard.
So it's about everyday people that people don't even hear about, but their stories have to be told. So
Yeah.
it's about change makers and creators and innovators.
Yeah, and let's talk more about Sana herself. What are the value has guided you throughout this way?
The older I get, the more I realize that time is valuable. Time is more valuable than money. And so it's all about seeing what can be done for the next generation.
Okay.
Recently, my son Ayman had his own child, so now I'm a grandmother.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm thinking, I have to think about not just my kids, but about Ibrahim as well and his generation. So it's all about seeing what can be done in the time that we are here to build a better world for the next generation.
And who would you say the people that stood behind this throughout your career, your pathway, your life as well?
My family, my husband also, he always empowered me. A lot of husbands say, no, you can't go cover a story in here. You can't do this. He says, do what you need to do.
Well, you were the first woman journalist as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And I was lucky. And this is, alhamdulillah, it is, my father empowered me, my brothers empowered me, and my husband empowered me. My mom was always there, of course, fanning I was the only girl, and she supports me fully. But I call them my tripartite. Husband, brothers, and father. They were always there. They were the men who really supported me. But one of the things that's just incredible is if you go into life with good intentions, you will meet people who are like you. You will attract people who believe in what you believe.
You will attract what you deserve as well.
And you, exactly. You want to make a difference, you will find a way to make a difference. Allah will open the path for you.
If you could go back to brand Moxie first, let's say, introduce for me the brand. What's brand Moxie? What services do you have? What do you offer for clients and people?
Brand Moxie changed a lot over the years. Anybody who is in marketing will tell you that. Marketing has changed immensely. When we were around, when we set things up, it was all about 360-degree marketing. TV, radio, all of that, and developing the content, develop the visuals, the events, all of that. But then something very interesting happened, and it was technology.
Yeah.
Technology came in, and now with AI, everything has changed dramatically. For me, in terms of me, Sana, I was in my 2454 incredible space with doing all of this amazing stuff. And then I realized that a lot of the clients, they wanted me personally. Maybe more than the agency, they wanted me. So I became the innovation advisor in Abu Dhabi municipality. I reported to Omar al-Hashmi and Saif Badr al-Qabaisi himself. And they gave me the chance to create an innovation space. So in Abu Dhabi municipality, we created a space. I brought my staff. I moved them from 2454. My staff had a big space in Abu Dhabi municipality, and we introduced two things. We introduced Innovation Tuesdays and Innovation Nation. And the whole idea was how to create innovation that interlocks the private sector and the public sector in terms of PPPs, private-public partnerships, and also entrepreneurship, not just entrepreneurship, but intrapreneurship. So bringing in the spirit of entrepreneurship into government and institutions. Why? This is how you create innovation. And so I was lucky, I took teams from the Baladiya, from the government, to overseas on innovation tours. worked with Etihad Airways as well. And we took them, one of the interesting visits was to Dublin, Ireland, which was considered the most innovative city in Europe.
Yeah.
And so with the Baladia, what we tried to do was we tried to identify what were the problems, and then we get entities and to pitch their
Pitch the ideas.
the solution. So they could pitch from anywhere. It could be a business, established business. It could be a startup. But the interesting thing is when you have something like that, and we did it. It was incredible. We did it in the Majlis upstairs. The big, I think the cabinet used to meet there or something. But it was. We had all of the different government entities attending, to whom the challenge pertained. So if it was a problem with the bridge, the people from transportation was there. If it was something relating to culture, the tourism board was there. But the amazing thing was, then when you have something like the Dublin model was, then you tell the pitchers, you tell them, so what do you need from us? And they say, oh, what we need is we want to work with you, or we want access to data, or we want to be able to, we want funding. So there was always an ask, and it became a beautiful place for innovation. So that sort of, to answer your question, Brand Moxie became more of a consultancy.
Yeah.
And then AI happened. With AI now, we are working with Tamakkan, with the other platform, and we're trying to make AI available to the masses. So for me, this comes from my experience in Silicon Valley. My daughter went to Stanford, and when I was in Seattle, we used to do sessions. So in California, it became very clear to me that a lot of the conversations that were happening at a technology level were happening among people who were like experts in certain ecosystems, very contained, very esoteric ecosystems. And I thought it really needed to be broadened. We need the global South, people from the Middle East and from Africa and from Asia, from all to be part of the conversation. So with the Global Brain Trust, it is maybe more academic than anything else, and it's more advocacy focused. But we have about 45 people from different countries, and they just share their ideas. So, for example, a professor could write a piece about a white paper on thought leadership about hallucinations, or the fact that AI could threaten jobs. It could be anything, but at least we wanted the other countries to also be part of the conversation. We didn't want it to just be the techies.
Like that would be translated to all the languages as well, and everyone who has an access to the application would be able to see it?
We have a website, and what we do is we come out with a paper.
Okay.
We call it our communique.
Yeah.
So, for example, Abdullah has, once he's really worried about the fact that deep fakes are very risky, and they are very risky. So he could write a paper about deep fakes, for example.
Okay.
And then we publish it, and we say, this is Abdullah's point of view. And then somebody else comes, because there are certain things that are about other countries. And one thing that's very important in AI is we have to all make sure that our culture is represented properly.
Yeah.
In AI. Because now with AI, when you ask it for information, say about an Arab country, it will give you the Western point of view.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So we have to make sure that a lot of content is reflecting and created by people from other countries, whether it's the Arab world, the African countries, others, that reflect their view of their countries.
From its people.
From its people.
Yeah.
So this is what the Global Brain Trust is. It's about people talking about their AI issues to the world. So it's also something that is reflected, and it is something that even policymakers can look at and say, we didn't think about that. We didn't think about that angle, because what the AI, ChatGPT and Perplexity, all of these, they're giving me this answer, but there is this answer that was never captured here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is how we're thinking about AI. Our focus now is educating people about AI. Young people have to be involved in AI. Guys, the whole game has changed. Brand Moxie, the agency, it's completely transformed. Now it's all about AI. What used to take like 5 designers to do, now you could sit in front of your laptop and you can create it. But the problem is it lacks depth. It lacks human perspective. So we have to be...
Human touches as well.
The human touches. And so for me, what I worry about is we might go so much towards this AI-driven world that we will leave all of the other beautiful human things that we have to address and that are so part of us, part of our cultures, part of who we are, part of our religion, our, and the way we see the world. Everything has to be gathered, and I think we have to make an effort to also be part of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if I'm gonna ask you, what do you think that sets your agency apart, especially from the competitions, from other like agencies as well? What would you say?
Community building. Yeah, when you open our website, it says Brand Moxie, we are community. And we focus on events, on thought leadership, on even on solutions that are about people. So we're very big on reputation building. Right now, anyone can go do anything and suddenly they become a star. But there are people who deserve to be stars whose stories are not properly told. And I remember one time this CEO of a big company, he left, and he came and he said, I don't know how to restart my life. I left the big company. I have to find my identity. There's nothing about me online. I'm a nobody, And this is the thing. People who are noisy, who are brash, who know technology, they're moving forward. But there are a lot of very important people who have substance, who can contribute to our world in beautiful ways, and their stories are not being told and shared. So we have to know how to use technology well at all levels.
What are the tools that you have introduced through Brand Moxie to the community, to the new technology as well?
One of the things that we did very early on was a solution called brand acuity strategic alignment. And what we found was that a lot of companies, they're misaligned. So we do a lot of mystery shopper stuff, or we go into the comms, we do audits, and then you ask the CEO, you say, what does your company do? And the CEO says, oh, we're about urban design, for example. And then you go talk to the middle managers, they say, no, we create some blah, blah, blah. And then you go to the frontliners, the people who are actually talking to the customers, and they say something totally different. So we do brand alignment like that, in terms of messaging, what you're supposed to say here, how it's supposed to resonate here, how it filters down here, and how it is being adapted throughout all of your touch points. That is very important, and it really also connects with the whole AI modality. So you really have to know who you are, what you stand for, and how to say it, and how to repeat it, and how to align it throughout your whole organization. This is not just at a commercial level. It's not just about business. It's also about reputation. The best companies, the strongest companies are those that anchor in something that is their value base. And it is something that permeates through the whole entity seamlessly. Branding, alignment, guarding your reputation through knowing how to use language, how to use technology, how to use operations as well. And it's all about creating a very seamless story about yourself. And it's the same, by the way, even at a personal branding level. People say so we do coaching, we coach leaders, and they say, how do I present myself? Because sometimes you have really amazing leaders, but they just don't know how to articulate them, their vision, or they don't know how to
overshare, maybe?
No, well, there's so many aspects, to be honest, Sometimes how you talk to your staff, what you say to them, what you say to the media. So we do media training as well. The way you use your hands, the way you express yourself, all of that plays into how people see you. It all reflects on the perception of people,
Yeah.
Well, and so it's a whole integrated thing. And when we talk about organizations at a very simple level, you even have the language that you use textually, like the style books. We developed style books for entities as well. Like, do they use this word or do they use this word? And English spelling, American spelling, and all of that, But then also in terms of nomenclature, what are the words that they use? How do they use them? In what context? And how to create a manual that also aligns with your whole business focus and your operations and the touch points that you have. So when you talk about touch points in marketing, traditionally, a long time ago, we used to say 8. You need 8 touch points. Yani when you have something, you say something, you tell the client, you want to be memorable in 8 ways. Maybe the billboard, the text message, and then they see you a short video, and then they see an email, because people forget. If they see just one thing, they might forget. But once you have additional multiple touch points, then you become memorable, and then they think about you. And then when you have your call to action, you want to bring them in, at least you've created the foundation for that. But now with AI, honestly, SEO now has completely changed, been completely transformed. So now we go back again to the value of what? The content that is about you online. So what Brand Moxie has is a collection of sites. We have the lead pages, we have skill markers, we have bold cities, tempo, we have a few others as well. So what we try to do is we try to take a story and we put it through all of these, because what happens, it feeds the LLMs. And when people say, so what do you think of, John David, and then they look at all of this stuff. So we help companies and individuals get some traction online through the content that's driven about them. But on the other side, it's about the alignment, how they hold themselves up, how they present themselves, how the company operates. So it's a very integrated way. And this is the new Brand Moxie, the new Tamakkan. It's part of an ecosystem that includes Tempo, the Global Brain Trust, and others, And this is why we have an event here. We're working with our new partners called The Block. The way The Block works is they are an ecosystem. And so when they invited us to be partners with them, we thought, absolutely, because we're an ecosystem, you're an ecosystem, and we have the same sense of purpose, the same values, the same disposition
as well,
the same disposition as well. So this is where we are right now.
And speaking of AI as well, I'm aware that you have launched the Skill Boards initiatives.
Yes.
So if you could tell me more, how do you democratize the AI education, and what's the vision behind it as well?
Skill Board is a very interesting project, and it was born out of an interesting collaboration. So we had a couple of young people in Silicon Valley when my daughter was in Stanford. And then we had a group in Seattle and a group in Addis Ababa and a group here. It was a collaboration. And the idea behind Skill Board is AI is moving very rapidly. And a lot of companies are having a hard time educating their staff. So they start on something, and then like a month later, there's a new update, or there's a new process, or a new, or new prompts are coming, or, there's so many, and risks as well, opportunities and risks. So Skill Board is this platform. It's an online platform. It's a weekly update. So if you have a company, you have your own Skill Board, and the Skill Board changes every week. And in that Skill Board, It has information about new solutions, new prompts, new applications, how to build agentic solutions as well. It gives you a lot of skills, and it connects you to Curata, which is a program, and this program is AI curated, AI and human curated. So all of the content is very carefully curated, and once a week it changes. Once a week it changes, and the whole idea is we want to empower HR managers and staff to be able to see something and learn quickly. The main concept from skill markers and from the boards, the skill boards, is it's learning on the fly, learning quickly. You don't have time. You don't have time to take a big course. You don't have time to go on a retreat.
Especially nowadays in that world.
Exactly. You want something that is quick. So all of the lessons on skill boards is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You take it and then you move to the next one and you check something else. It is basically increasing the rate of learning by making all of these tools accessible. And then you can find the skill boards. You can see it on your phone, you can see it on your laptop, or companies can actually put it on their screens, big screens.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool concept in the sense that it's just moving with the times. Education, the old HR thing, it doesn't work anymore. Okay. It's expensive, a lot of stuff, they don't have time, but this is learning on the fly, learning quickly and assimilating the information into your work processes.
Yes, and speaking as well, you have mentioned that you have an event tomorrow. Is it as well about AI?
Absolutely. This event is with our partner, The Block. The Block is an incredible ecosystem. It's in downtown center of Dubai, surrounded by startups and innovators and accelerators, and it focuses on Web3 technologies. So The Block, our partner, and us are launching a series of talks and events and thought leadership, brain trusts, and the whole idea is to empower businesses, individuals, companies with technology, with AI, with Web3, and really get on to the next level of advancement. So it's really exciting. Our event is tomorrow. We're also doing something with AI Collective, which is a community out of San Francisco. We're leading the Dubai chapter, and it's all about expanding the reach, impact, and influence of AI in a very safe, secure, and inclusive manner.
And thank you so much, Ms. Sam, for such a wonderful conversation. I would like to ask you if there is a young person that would like to persuade a career pathway into marketing, let's say, communication, what an advice you would give to the young generation? And also, what one thing you wish that someone has told you, like a message?
That's a good question. The one advice that I wish someone had told me before is learn languages more. Learn Arabic, be better in Arabic, written, learn French, learn other languages. That's what I wish. I love the whole interculturalism aspect of that. Now, my advice to young people is you have to take the plunge. There is no excuse for you not to be learning AI. There is no excuse for you not to be teaching yourself. By the way, you have to remember, your teachers at school, university, they're also learning. Why? Because things are changing so rapidly. I was in situations where it's a classroom, and the students know more than the teachers. So here, my advice is take the plunge, be involved, no excuses. There's no excuses. Whether you are a young person, you are a woman entrepreneur, and you want to move forward, whether you are somebody who's a senior person who left work and you're trying to find your sense of purpose, no excuse. Everything that you need is there. There's YouTube, There's things, so many free classes as well. Most of the stuff is free. So learn, equip yourself, and also adopt the habit of continuous learning. Don't say, I took this course, khalas. No, it's not. You have to continuously upgrade yourself, keep learning and keep up, because things are moving. And you'll be left behind if you don't keep up. Simple as that.
Thank you so much for such an inspiring message. Also, you call UAE your home as well. So what would you like to send a message to the leaderships of the UAE?
I just want to say thank you for a wonderful place to live. It's been a place where my family lives here, my extended family. They moved here, I think, even before the union, and they are part of the very fabric of this place. How I was, when I came, I just feel like I'm part of the family. My family was formed here, and I love the fact that it is safe. My kids and my grandkids, they're in a safe place, they're happy, they're connected, the values of family are there, the value of being close to Allah is there. You can pray anywhere, and feel connected. There's a sense of caring. All of these are very important values that build community. And that's what I want to say thank you for.
Ms. Sana Bagersh, 20 years ago you had a vision, and today that vision speaks for itself. Thank you so much for this truly inspirational conversation. I really enjoyed it today.
Thank you so much. So good to meet you.
Thank you so much. And to everyone who's watching us, every peer has a story. And next week, wait for us for another peer to join us next week. Until then, take care, and we will see you in Peers of Union.